Good day. Welcome to Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host today, Richard Faust, Community Services General Manager for the City of Cottonwood. We're into the fall season of a lot of our programming, as well as city functions and programs, involvement into special events, things that we do in Parks and Recreation and Community Services Department, as well as Library Department. So we'd like to welcome you today. We're honored today by having Charles Novak, the chairperson of the City of Cottonwood's Youth Advisory Commission, as well as Hezekiah Allen, and Hez is our Recreation Services Supervisor for both the aquatics, youth, and special events programming at the Cottonwood Recreation Center and the Cottonwood Parks and Recreation Department. So welcome to you both. It's my pleasure to have you on board. What we want to do today is talk a little bit about the Youth Commission and what does it do within the City of Cottonwood? How is it involved? What are the circumstances around how it was implemented from the very beginning? But Hez, I wanted to also take just a moment. I know that we've got a program upcoming here real quick. And can you tell us a little bit as to what's happening with Walking on Main program? Because I know we'll probably have this air during that time frame a little bit, but I wanted you to go over that real fast.
You know, I think you said it best when you alluded to the fact that Walking on Main rings in the holidays.
Yes.
Every year it's like a staple in the community that the leaves are changing and Walking on Main arrives and the weather's just perfect. It happens from 11/5 this Saturday, November 8th. Classic car show, artist. It's kind of our Route 66 program. It's a celebration of the Verde Valley, what we have to offer. Folks from all over come. It's a free event. Enjoy it. I think we have 10 to 11 wineries signed up.
That's right.
The Mingus Union Art School program does a big sidewalk chalk art display right before your eyes. There's artists. So come on out, see it.
There you go.
Check out our great shops.
What is the Youth Commission? Do they do anything into Walking on Main?
You know, typically we have in the past. They've done some fundraising there. This year they helped out with the Fall Carnival, and they have a full plate ahead. So we're trying to point them.
So we're trying to dispense properly as we, balance this out for them and their activities for the year. I got it. Okay. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that because it gives us a little bit of an idea of even what we do here with the City of Cottonwood Parks and Recreation Department and what we offer. We do a lot of program and events, and it's a lot of fun. Let's talk about the Youth Commission here for the minutes that we have here in the first segment. So how long has the Cottonwood Youth Advisory Commission been in existence as a viable commission under the City Council?
Long enough for me to realize they keep getting younger and I keep getting older.
There you go. I understand that.
So, no, 2005 was their first year of inception. And then they kind of kicked off 2006, and since then they've been going strong. And it was kind of an initiative brought up by Brian Mickelson, the past city manager. He wanted something that could represent the youth of the area to spar off the council and youth commission. Was that?
We did. I know that Brian and I had discussed for some time period as to how could we actively involve the youth within our community. We got the mayor involved as, this is basically the 9th year of the program. And so that was one of the things that Brian was definitely trying to implement across the board as to how could we get youth more involved. The mayor was, very dramatically involved in that as well as it started to unfold. I think her idea was, to get youth involved more so as it pertains to community events, activities, as well as trying to get them to understand what the concept of leadership was involving community and community service. I think that's a lot of it. So, as we look at the role of the council and their play in leadership opportunities for these young people, how does that affect the youth within our community?
I think the youth commissioners that we have, first they go through a strenuous application process. Charles can attest to that. And then they are almost looked upon as a voice, and they have other students, other members of the community almost seeking them out and saying, hey, we'd like to see this with the skate park, or things that definitely pertain to that demographic. And it makes them, whether they would like it or not, they are leaders in this community.
Well, and I think that was one of the things, too, that Brian, as well as the mayor and the council, felt that youth weren't actually being approached and involved in some of the decision-making processes, and they felt that that was one of the dynamics that was being left out, for the youth in the community, and felt, let's bring them in.
Right.
And one of the big ideas, even all the way into the Parks and Recreation Commission, when the commissioners would meet, they felt that, hey, there's something missing here as we're starting to advance looking at even the recreation center,
right,
or the skate parks, or anything like that involves youth. We just we never had it. So as we started to move towards the recreation center, it was one of those things that was the dynamic that we felt was necessary to get them involved.
Right.
And so I think that there were meetings that we actually had with the youth commission.
Right.
Which direction should we take the recreation center in this area? What should we do? So we tried to apply as much as we possibly could.
Yeah.
So it was rather interesting as the youth commission started up. There were a lot of reasons behind how the inception of the Youth Commission started. So it was really pretty neat. So Hez, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here. I mean, can you tell us the current commissioners, the Youth Commission, and who it's made up of, and also those who are newly elected?
It was interesting because when I was sitting down to do this council doc, to recommend future applicants for the Youth Commission, I had the old names from years past, and I'm like, gosh, I completely forgot about all these.
Yeah.
So this year we have Gabrielle McCooch. Correct me if I say this wrong, I always do this. Her nickname is Pookie. She goes by Sirilak Sang Swang.
That's pretty good.
Oh, thanks. Carrington Midkiff, Wyatt Midkiff, Krista Earl, Charles Novak, Parker Kleck, Ryan Young, Kristen Conover, Kaylee Gordon, Jasmine Banks. New potential members this year is Riley McClellan and Evan Snyder. And then also we have Kirsten Hastings, which is their adult representative.
Right. And so as we take kind of a segue into that, how does the Parks and Recreation Department assist with the programming as well as the opportunities, and what do we do?
Very behind the scenes. It's always been instilled that the Youth Commission runs itself. It's youth organized, youth ran.
That's great.
When you start having input from other demographics, other areas, that dynamic changes. And so to keep it pure, we've always operated as just kind of that checks and balances. That here's your budget, keep this in mind, and then let them run with it.
So how do they operate within the context of the Youth Commission? Once the commission starts up, do they operate very similar to every other commission? Do they have Robert's Rules of Orders?
Very
how do they
much
operate
so.
that?
Robert's Rules of Orders, we instill that heavily.
Yes.
Making your motions and your seconds and keeping our minutes. It's a proper commission.
So that's how, I think a lot of the leadership training that goes into effect is actually applied in the meetings themselves.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
In everyday activities, because when we look at even from the state, in state politics, when they formulate their committees, their commissions, even their agendas and how they formulate those, it's all done through that same type of committee action.
Right.
And so they get that from the very beginning. A lot of these youth are actually in middle school as they're coming up through.
Right.
And so they stay on board. So it's kind of good as we see this as a mentoring goes along. And so the mentoring comes not only from staff a bit, but primarily through the older members.
If you're in
That's
8th grade
what's the key.
and you're knocking on Mingus's door, that's a good end for you to develop these relationships with older students that can kind of help you out walking down the hallway.
That's really incredible.
Yeah.
That's a great way to do it. And I'm glad we've set it up this way. I'm glad the council went along with this years ago. This is fantastic. So, well, so as we look at this commission program and the department's activity and how we play a role in this, what are some of the other levels of activity that they're involved in at, I guess, the state level or things of that nature? I know that they go to different programs throughout the state that the council allows them to do, as well as funds those. What are those?
It was about 2 years ago, we were very honored to win the Governor's Volunteerism Award for a youth group. It's the highest, most prestigious award you can win as a volunteer committee.
Wow.
They competed against multiple organizations. One of the big winners that year was U.S. Airway.
Wow.
So that's kind of who our competition was, obviously different category.
That's amazing.
But they always take place in the Governor's Youth Commission, the Governor's Youth Commission Conference, at Arizona Leagues and Cities and Towns Conference. They are very much a part of the pipeline as it concerns youth in the state of Arizona as well as the Verde Valley and the city. So multiple dimensions there.
Yeah.
Very lucky.
Yeah,
Wow,
I was asked to be on a panel at the Leagues of Cities and Towns meeting. So
Yeah, this past year.
Yeah, this past year I spoke about how as a city, how at a local level we could help keep the higher level scholars in our communities to help keep our Arizona prosperous.
That's incredible. That's cool. Well, let's
Yeah.
we'll get a little bit more into that now with Charles in this next segment here as we take a break. And we'd like to thank you again for joining us for Looking Good Cottonwood. I'm your host today, Richard Faust, Community Services General Manager for the City of Cottonwood.
At Gettle's High Desert Mechanical, rather than do lots of things, we focus on doing one thing right. We serve climate-challenged people. Gettle's starts with a free system evaluation to identify the best AC and heating equipment for your home or business. Professional installation, warranties, and service after the sale. If you're climate-challenged, then we're the right choice. Gettle's High Desert Mechanical, the name to trust.
Welcome back to Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host today, Richard Faust, Community Services General Manager for the City of Cottonwood. And again, we've got Hezekiah Allen here with the City of Cottonwood and our Recreation Services Supervisor. And we also have Charles Novak, the Chairperson, President of the City of Cottonwood's Youth Advisory Commission with us today. And Charles, I appreciate you chiming in on that last segment there. The one thing we want to do is congratulate you on being elected for the 2014-15 Cottonwood Youth Advisory Commission and as the president. And in the season of politics, it's rather interesting as we bring that up. I need to ask this question. So what platform did you run on that convinced the other members of the commission to elect you in this position?
I think I have a fairly clear plan of where I would like to take the commission this year, and what sort of the major focus that I would like the commission to go into. And I believe that I got the support of the commission to go behind it, so they agreed.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what your goals and your objectives are for the commission this year.
I would like to take more of to focus on the seniors that they don't necessarily have the same sort of holiday spirit, especially coming into the next holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas. Every year we do an angel tree. If you haven't seen it, it's at the rec center. We put up youth that are at risk or they don't have as much, they're impoverished, and the people come in, they take a kid off the tree that's an ornament, and they go out and they have a list of things that would make their Christmas better, and that they go out and then they get them, and then it's all donated by, and then we come and wrap them and give them out, and so that's always been a very great staple of our Christmas spirit.
Right.
And so this year we would actually like to also give that handout to some seniors as well, who don't necessarily have that same family or have that same ability since they're retired, to have that same sort of Christmas. So we could also put them up there and help give that sort of Christmas spirit as well.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
The older populations.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
that you guys are getting into something that a lot of communities would like to see as action towards generational spirit and that concept. I think that you guys are hitting the nail right on the head, and hitting the mark. It's something that I think senior citizens within the community love to see youth that are involved. They love to see the youth that are involved in leadership and take action within the community, and that's what you guys are doing. That's incredible. So I applaud you, as this goal is really an incredible one for this year and coming up. So Charles, how long have you been a member of the CYAC?
This is my 5th year. I was one of those 8th graders that you talked about that was knocking on the door. And then one of the most memorable things that I've had from my 8th grade year. And talking about that, I had the president, I rode on the car trip up to, where did we go to? Mormon Lake for our end of the year trip. So we went up there and I took their car ride, and then I became great friends with them, and it was really a great memorable experience. And so I would like to help give that same sort of thing where you give advice to the 8th graders to help them come up, and then you also, when you're there, you help tutor them, or you help give them ideas, because you've obviously been through, everybody has the same sort of experience, especially at a higher level of high school, which we're all at in. And so then to help give them out his like studying tips, or maybe just time management tips, it's really helpful. It's fantastic.
That's really neat. So
Yeah.
As we look at that, and you were mentored, and you're mentoring now.
Right.
Tell us someone that you admired and patterned your leadership skills after. You were just indicating
Yeah.
that there was that individual.
Right. I was it was Zach. What was his last name? Gigo or Gi? It was Ghigo.
Okay.
I'm not sure how to say it.
Okay.
But he was also in theater, and then there was Andrew Hickey, who was in football, and they were all very well. They're all very active people in our high school community, and therefore out in our Cottonwood community, as well as being part of this, the commission. They were able to do all these different things, and that was really an inspiration. So whenever I would be like, ooh, should I be really doing all these things? And then I realized that if it makes me turn it out to be somebody like them, then I would really like to do these.
See, that's really important.
Zach Rumpel.
And
Zach Rumpel, there you go. Sorry.
Okay.
Different.
Okay. So, and I think it's very important that, they catch on to that same fire as you guys, look at, I guess I'm going to take it right into the statement of dream big. And, I think that, Charles, what is your interpretation of that statement of dream big as it pertains to CYAC?
I like to think that dreaming big for us is to really put not only in our Cottonwood level, but also make an impact at a greater level and through the state, as we did by winning the volunteerism award, as well as going through these different meetings and being a very prestigious commission, not only within the state. And so I believe that us making sure that we keep being successful and making, not only as youth, but also branching out to seniors, as well as so trying to make the impact on all levels of Cottonwood, not just this youth, which I think would be really what the youth want. They don't want to they want to be effective throughout the community, because everybody hears how, I think one of the bigger stereotypes that everybody, like the teenagers, are just no good or whatever, they're lazy or do nothing. And so that is one of those things, like being stereotype breakers is one of the greatest things that, as dreaming big, that is what we would do.
That's amazing. I think, as we look at teen programs throughout our nation and things that we try to get people involved in, this one here is really impressive. It's incredible, because I think that the youth really take charge, they take hold of it, they dream big, and they actually put feet to action, and they do. And that's one of the impressive things, and I think that's one of the reasons why the Volunteer of the Year award was presented in this context, is that these youth here in Cottonwood are incredible. They're very dynamic. They moved, and they're centered together as a team effort. But they also are instrumental in doing so many things within our community and outside our community. So again, my hat's off to you guys. It's an incredible program again. And again, I applaud the mayor on their continuing. I think their continuing direction on providing funding for the youth here in the context of what they do within the budget cycle every year, and then what you guys raise and your fundraising programs is just incredible as well.
Yeah, she's a very active part of our commission. She usually shows up to 1 to 2 meetings every year, and we usually do events with her, and it's very nice to see her and know that we are that supported throughout the community, even all the way up to the mayor.
Right, and the city council. So as the city council, and how do you basically go about to ensure that the voice of the youth is heard by the council or the leaders in the community?
Right, we usually attend meetings, and we have, last year I know we spoke with them several times, and we've gone through and we talked to them, and we've gotten advice from them as well on how to go about, say, during the movie theater.
Oh, okay,
the
right.
Movie Theater Act, and talking to them what they could do maybe to help us, and what they would do if they were supportive, or what their idea was on it. And so it's a very collaborative effort. We look at them as, or they look at us as their peers, I believe.
Right.
And so there's no like talking down, or there's no, it's very collaborative. Like I said, it's open. We talk to them. They voice opinions. We have brainstorming sessions. It's very good. I think it's a very healthy relationship that we have with them.
I agree. I think that there's respect across the board,
Yeah.
which is really vital in leadership role. And they mentor as well, and they try, but they do treat you, as equals across the board because of your leadership skills and your ability. So I think that's really kind of a unique thing we have in this community as well, and that's what we really applaud the council for too. Is really kind of a unique thing. We're going to go ahead and take another break, and we'll be back with Charles and Hez here in just a moment. Again, I'm your host, Richard Faust, Community Services General Manager for the City of Cottonwood. Thank you for joining us for Inside Cottonwood today.
At Gettles High Desert Mechanical, rather than do lots of things, we focus on doing one thing right. We serve climate-challenged people. Gettles starts with a free system evaluation to identify the best AC and heating equipment for your home or business. Professional installation, warranties, and service after the sale. If you're climate challenged, then we're the right choice. Gettles High Desert Mechanical, the name to trust.
Hello again and welcome back. Thank you for joining us for our final segment of Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host today, Richard Faust, Community Services General Manager for the City of Cottonwood. We have both Hez Allen and we also have Charles Novak with us here for talking about Cottonwood Youth Commission and the Youth Advisory Commission here for the City of Cottonwood. Incredible group of people, young people, again, challenging, I think even, as the people, as they come up as youth and as they're leading and moving forward in our community and even beyond, especially as we see so many of them in the dynamics of moving on into college. We see so many of these youth as the stereotype breakers, as what Charles was just talking about. They're incredible. They're moving into leadership programs after college, even in their work environments. And we want to just kind of get a little bit more perspective even from Charles here. Charles, you're really involved in the Mingus Union High School football program.
Yes.
Give us a little bit of information about that.
Well, I've been playing football since like 4th grade.
Okay.
And it's just one of those things. And as I grew up, I realized I became sort of a leader on the team, a leader of the linemen. And so it was really, and it's been nice to be able to have that brotherhood with those people, as well as just have that team dynamic and be able to lead and kind of lead for example. That's what I always try to do on the team. Like, don't say it, or if you're not gonna do it, don't say it. So I just try to lead by example and help them out.
Right.
And so past 2 years was varsity. Before that, I played.
Right.
Then as well as not only that, but I also do theater as well. We just won the national or the state competition.
Okay.
And we're gonna play at the Thespian Fest on the 21st.
Awesome.
And there's gonna be 3,000. Every single drama teacher in the state is gonna be there, as well as 3,000 students in front of a board of, in front of both a national and a state board for judges.
That's incredible.
And so, yeah, not only so, it's one of those things where it's also both leading through that and through the football team. I think that also helps, because it's one of those, again, the stereotype breakers where the football players don't see that the theater kid could go off and be a football player, and then all the theater kids don't think that the football players can go out and be that. And so through the past few years, I think that both the CYAC has also come into effect with that, because Marshall Schill last year was part of the play with Broadway across Disney, and he was also a football player and a baseball player, and so he was also the vice president of the Cottonwood Youth Advisory Commission.
Right.
And so we take roles in both of those things, and well as in academics and throughout the high school.
Right. I think that's one of the things with sports. And Hez and I both know the same thing. We both did a lot in high school and into college a bit. And I think that, it's that team concept.
Yeah.
And you bring that into life. And that's one of the nice life skills that's brought forth in sports, as well as anything else you do. Now, Charles, that's incredible. What are your plans after you graduate?
To go to university, I was still getting some applications out, but I got recently accepted into the U of A Honors Program.
Congratulations.
With 8,000 in scholarships per year.
That's great.
And so I think that's where I'm looking at mostly right now. And so that's exciting. And I think that the CYAC has been a very large part in me being able to get that scholarships, that amount of 4 years of dedication towards such a great goal. And we've done over 100 hours of community service every single year out of that.
That's just
and
awesome.
So we've done so much, and it shows a lot of leadership in the community, and it shows a lot of leadership throughout. And universities love that. They want to see it. And everybody in there is a totally different attitude, totally different person. And it's great to have that dynamic of such a differing personalities.
It is, and you're going to be a University of Arizona Wildcat. Wow. There's a lot of rivalry here in the state, so we love that. So it'll be great. So it'll be good to see. Talking about that, as we talk about previous individuals within the Cottonwood Youth Advisory Commission, many of them have received scholarships. Where are some of these people today? Can you give us a little bit of an idea where some of these people have gone to school or what they've done?
Last year, the year before, we kind of started a project reaching out to all the alumni, CYAC members, and figuring out where they're at. And we were astounded. We have engineers, we have professors in Ireland, we have individuals that are working in politics for the state of Arizona, we have lawyers, you name it. We have filled the gamut of positions in this society.
Yeah, I agree. And I know James Cook personally is the professor in Ireland.
Yeah.
And, James comes back every now and then, and he's with family, and then our families kind of get together. So it's incredible to listen to James. And Charles, he's very similar to you in a lot of respects. And so, I think the world of him. He's just an incredible young man.
Yes.
And this is what we're doing here in Cottonwood, is we're filling the gap with these youth into dynamic leaders of the future, and that's pretty much what it's about here.
Definitely.
I think that's it, and those people who are going to continue to grow our nation and be responsible individuals as well, and doing all of this. So that's incredible. I wanted to talk about where do you see the Cottonwood Youth Commission over the next 5 years?
As the dynamics of society are changing, so will the commission. Just quick notes, Steve Jobs, a late Apple pioneer, his leadership style was very interesting because when he was a child, he had a neighbor that had this rock polisher. And he thought he was amazing that you could put all these rocks that are rough and unfinished together, and through impacting each other, they would come out beautiful polished stones. And that's kind of the Youth Commission and how they act.
That's right.
All of them together are leaders, or type A personalities. They are driven individuals, and when they come together, sometimes they pound, but at the end of the day, they're polished, and when they graduate, they go off and do amazing things.
They do. And Charles, expound a little bit for us before we close out today. Will you come back and meet with current commissioners in the future? I guess that's kind of one of those things, too, is a key element of mentoring.
Yeah, I really hope so. This has been such a huge impact on my life, and I want to come back and see these people and see how it's impacting them, because I know when I come back, there's going to be some of the younger commissioners that are going to be where I'm at right now and leading and mentoring, and see how they've grown up and how the commission has impacted them. And it's just it's a wonderful thing, really, to see that maturation from the younger, not necessarily knowing how to do the Roberts rules or how to do any of that, and coming in and then becoming a leader and really going out there and having that confidence to put out your ideas and to have them shot down maybe but also always to come back and then change. And it's quite a great thing.
I think that it's the statement in the context of, you know, they might have maybe ideas, you know, shot down, but I mean, you know, they can change and they maneuver, and you know, it's part of growth and being responsible. Is that, you know, I think that that's the same thing with Thomas Edison. Is that it took him 1,000 times, you know, before, you know, every time that he tried to create the light bulb, you know, something would happen, and it took him 1,000 times, and he finally got to that point where boom, he made it. And so, you know, we never give up. We continue on, and that's the energy behind, as well as the dynamics behind you guys and your mentorship as well, your leadership skills, and continue that. I think that's just incredible what you're doing. So thank you for that. It's an enjoyment watching youth grow up and how they fill the spaces within our communities. And again, it is community involvement, community service, and those things that are taking place, and it's grand to see that. I want to thank you both for being here today, because it is an enjoyable time frame to see you guys and the youth, and we'll continue with this as we, you know, move into maybe in the dynamics every 6 to 8 months, finding out what the youth are doing. I think it would be great. We wanted to thank you for joining us for Inside Cottonwood today, and thank you again, Charles, and thank you, Hez, for being here. And we'll close that out, and enjoy your day, enjoy your week, and this next month as we look at the fall, winter season here in Cottonwood. Thank you for joining us today for Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host, Richard Faust, Community Services General Manager for the City of Cottonwood.